to school because I get to play with my friends. I'm a superhero kid and I can make a difference.
I love playing sports with coach and it makes me big and strong.
I love my teachers because they make school fun. I love seeing the world around me with colours and art.
I like thinking out of the box. One day I want to make an invention that will help change the world.
When I'm out in the field playing rugby, I feel alive, like I'm meant to be out there, leading my teammates.
I enjoy making short films and drama because I see myself as a future filmmaker.
I love that I get to express myself freely, and just knowing that I'm encouraged to do so makes me feel excited about what the future holds for me.
Naturally, I'm a shy person. However, when I open my mouth and start to sing, I feel a deep sense of calm and confidence.
I love that our school encourages us to look at the bigger picture and how it helps us to understand that we all have an important role to play in adding goodness to it through our strengths and passions.
Wow, there's nothing better than hearing how awesome a school is and from the children themselves. Hi, I'm Kate Shepherd. I am just a standard Rallim parent. This is not my day job, so please go easy on me. We are so excited to have you here at Rallim's virtual open day. There are still some slots available though if you want to click the link below and book your slot to come and see the school yourself later on. So today we'll be chatting to some edumentors, to some of the kids themselves, getting the lowdown and the inside scoop to what the school has to offer. But before we do that, why don't we take a magical tour and really see what Rallim's all about in this modern learning environment. My word, that video is incredible. It is so nice to see inside the space, and it's so nice to be in the space today. We can't wait to welcome you into the space. I hope you have booked your slot to come and check the place out. Don't forget the link is below. And now we have Colleen here. Thanks, Colleen. It's so nice to see you. I'm so glad we both dressed so bright today. Actually, a little fun fact that I learned recently, which I just loved, is that Rallim, spelled backward, is Miller. and I just loved that. I felt it was like really personal, and it just spoke to me sort of as a parent. It felt really modern, and I just loved what you did. I had no idea, and it was a lovely little fact. So we've spoken today so much to the students and the faculty members about sort of the future and the future of the education and the curriculum. But maybe you could talk a bit to the current facilities and the future of how you see Rallim expanding.
Sure, Kate. We're sitting in the second phase of the building, and what we've done quite intentionally with each faculty is align the furniture and the interior with the pedagogical approach in terms of the faculty. So it's developmentally age appropriate. And so we've got some beautiful spaces here in terms of the different hub spaces. The flexibility of the environment reflects the flexibility of the approach. So you've got the glass sliding doors between the classes for their team teaching, and a lot of glass for collaboration and communication. So it's a fostering of those 21st century skills. Got a lot of breakaway spaces for independent learning. And so I think it really is reflecting a contemporary and relevant modern learning environment.
From the hammocks that I've seen upstairs, and then there's fat sacks, there's even, I think there's sort of yoga balls that they sit on. It's just such a beautiful facility.
Yeah, you're right, Kate. There's a collaboration hub upstairs. There's obviously the coding lab. We've got a social hub, which has got a smoothie bar and a kitchen. And the idea, we've got a hydroponic wall, and the idea is to grow the plants so that they can be used in culinary studies. That's not the focus. The focus is on fostering entrepreneurial skills. So even what they're doing in ideation, for example, they've got a printing press, and they've got screen printing and that type of thing. And the idea is, once again, to not learn those specific skills, but to make things to sell. And the tech guys will talk to you later about a particular company we're working with. And the idea is for them to establish an e-commerce store and for them to sell what they make, okay, as opposed to the traditional trader market trading day. And so the environment has to reflect that. We've got inner engineering, we've got the Pixel Studio, which I know that Paul's going to talk about later. And then what we've recently finished off is the Astro Hockey, floodlit. And so we've
seen that being built.
Yes, it's taken a year. So there were quality issues. And then what we're going to be doing actually at the end of this quarter, the staff are taking on the students in a game. I've been relegated to manage and not coach or play.
And
then there's also, they've just recently revamped the golfing area. And Gareth and our golf pro coach Pete have got plans to further utilize technology actually and develop that golfing facility even further. So we're very excited. So that's currently.
Yeah, so then what are you going to continue to do with the space if that's what you've already got?
So we are building another building next year behind the tennis courts, and that's going to house the high school in its entirety the following year. And we're very excited because we're currently working with, obviously, Garden City is our partner, and their task team and the architect and certain members of staff to once again have developmentally appropriate areas and a building, a modern learning environment. And I say that because the whole of Rallim has got a certain language or marriage in terms of the structure, but it is different. Each faculty is different from the interior to the actual approach, etc.
But you see its evolution as you walk through it.
Correct. Yeah. And so it makes it exciting for the students. So it's a whole campus feel, in terms of everybody's on one, but they are separated developmentally and in terms of the approach and the interior, etc. So we're very excited because we're working on that now. And then what we will also do next year is we will build a further 2 tennis courts, which will be netball as well, 2 more cricket nets, aquatic centre, a multi-purpose hall as well. And additional parking. I know that will still thrill many people, many parents, I'm sure. Yes. And I know that also Garden Cities at some stage, I'm not sure when, but they plan to build a sporting centre next to Rallim on that land adjacent to ourselves and opposite the Table Bay Mall. And that's fantastic because they're our partners. So I'm sure we'll be able to make use of those facilities as well.
Absolutely.
So,
It's so exciting. So much to come and so much for everyone to look forward to. It's so amazing.
Yeah.
So now obviously you've had this initial vision.
Yeah.
How is that now aligning in what you're seeing today?
So I think in terms of the whole concept of redesigning education, we continuing to do that. So even, for example, I don't want to give away too much in terms of the high school build, the secondary faculty, but...
Yeah, you like a sneak peek here, I noticed that. Just little tidbits until we get there.
Yeah, lure you in.
Yes.
But like, for example, one of our staff members spoke about pop-up shops, actually, you know, and actually renting out spaces to people externally in terms of, because we've got we're doing an internship program. So to tap into that for the secondary faculty, but providing those spaces, but still continuing with the original vision of the flexibility of the environment and having breakaway spaces where students can meet and work as well. And so, so there's alignment there, but also with very separate or different identities too.
It's so refreshing to hear how much forward thinking there is and how much you're looking to the future and providing that opportunity for the children. It's very exciting as a parent. Now, we're going to meet a lot of these edumentors and sort of faculty members later, but maybe you want to tell us a bit more about the awesome team, because I'm a big fan. I don't think there's one person I dislike in this entire place. So maybe tell us a bit more about your awesome team.
You know, they really are incredibly dynamic. And I say that because when we interview potential staff members, we look for difference, basically, because just as our initial premise for founding Rallim was that each child is unique and different, and we have to align our approach according to each student, both in how they learn and the rate at which they learn. So we look for that in staff as well. So we don't have clones, and we want people that think differently, because that is critical for our particular approach. We also need staff that are lifelong learners, because we know our students have to be lifelong learners, because we can see with the rapidity with which the world is changing, when they leave school one day and tertiary, they're going to have to continuously upskill. And if they don't like learning, or they don't love learning, they're going to be disadvantaged. So we need skilled and experienced and passionate edumentors and staff. But I think at the core of all of that must be people that love children. And it might sound obvious, but...
no, not so obvious. No, I know what you mean.
Yeah, they have to love children, because that must inform all our decisions and our actions and why we're doing this, you know. And so I think we've got a dynamic team. With the challenges of COVID, and I know we're all fatigued and don't want to talk about it, but we had to, and I can't stand this phrase, but pivot. We had to pivot so quickly, and we had our challenges, of course, but I really think that they did pivot really dynamically. And I think it's also, they are testimony to our growth, because in the first year we had 265 children, and then last year it was 489, and then this year it's 642. And that's during the pandemic, where obviously people have immigrated and relocated, and some people have struggled obviously financially, but we've continued to grow, and so we've been very fortunate. And that, I think, besides the approach and the environment, is to very much a large extent because of our staff.
I was blown away with how amazingly compassionate and connected we were to the teachers in that time. And I know that, my daughter loved her grade 0 teacher so much. She still visits her now. She wanders across when she can. She still loves it. So the connection that they make there is so amazing, and I just love that. Now, obviously, there's another very important part of the community at Rallim, your vibrant parent community. Do you want to tell us a bit more about that?
You know, we really do have a very connected and involved parent body, to a less extent now, obviously, during COVID. But in 2019, we intentionally embraced our parents, because we know school is stronger when the parents are involved, and they're such an important part of that partnership. And it was amazing our first year, because there was the most incredible fierce, for want of a better word, from parents just coming and having a coffee outside Dennis, our food truck, when they collect their child or drop their child off in the mornings, to our hucksters market, which initially was done by ourselves and Paul, and then the parents offered to do it, and they did an amazing job. And to things like, we turned our parking lot into a go-kart challenge. And the parents made go-karts, and the staff and the children, and it was just this huge community feel. And I think that we're missing that so much. And our new parents that came last year during COVID and this year haven't really experienced that. And we look forward to next year going back to that, because we will go back to it next year, so that everybody can experience it in its entirety. And also, finally, when I chat to prospective students and parents, I ask the parents what they do. And Kate, you're a prime example. We tap into our resources.
This is not my day job, though. Can we be very clear?
We've got obviously a talented parent body as well, and we tap into them. I always say to them, "You are our resources, and we're going to use you." You know, so yeah, I think that we're very fortunate to have a very supportive and involved parent body.
No, it's wonderful. I tell you, I can't wait to come back and walk through the school again and greet people. It's definitely one of my favourite parts of the day, to greet people in the parking lot and see people and catch up, and have such great friendship groups now that have been built from the parents at Rallim. So it's been a wonderful, wonderful joining of the school. Awesome. We're going to learn a little bit more now about Rallim, and we look forward to walking you through the day.
And now I'm sitting here with two awesome faculty members from the pre-prep side. I'm quite grateful to know them pretty well already. I've had two kids go through the pre-prep. In fact, I know Emma fairly well. Our sons are in the same class. My daughter had the most amazing experience going through grade 0, and I know Emma is a grade 0 teacher and Kim is head of the pre-prep. Thanks, guys. There's quite a different approach in the pre-prep, Reggio Emilio. Maybe you could just tell us a little bit more about that.
It is a new approach, and I think a lot of people don't know where it started from. So in a town in Italy called Reggio Emilia, there was a lot of kind of disruption after the Second World War, and the parents needed something to kind of regroup their kids and bring it all back together where they could have some sort of a system where their kids could thrive. And they came together and started this. It was a group of parents who built up a school. I think the one story is they even used a tanker from the war as one of the walls of their little school.
Oh, wow.
And they started this, and they realized that the parents and teachers and environment actually play this pivotal role in the education of their children. And that's kind of where it started from. And then as that kind of gained momentum, a man called Loris Manaducci, he kind of got interested in this, and he started to document and actually really research all the kind of amazing aspects behind this approach. And that has become like a worldwide sort of approach now, and people are really, it's gaining momentum as we go on, and it is so incredible because they see the children as resilient and capable and amazing. And I think we've realized that it's not just an isolated area where the teachers can do all the work or the parents do all the work. It's this community coming together where everyone plays this role, and in coming together we kind of can get the best out of our children.
So how does that work within your teaching environment? What does that look like?
So for the day starts, it's about the child, seeing the child as who they are. They are unique individuals that are so capable, they're resilient, and they're rich with wonder. They want to know, they want to go experience. They have this longing to know more and inquiry, and what a beautiful place to be able to give them the opportunities to inspire. So we give them a lot of provocations in the school day, which provokes thought, it provokes understanding as well as questioning, giving them the ability to question what is on the table, what can I do with it, but being facilitated by the teacher and the edumentors and the co-teachers. So it's an incredible environment where we allow experiential learning. So actually the teacher doesn't come with all the amazing ideas that you see in the pre. It actually comes from these little beings that are wanting to know more. And what a beautiful environment to be part of. They are constructing their own knowledge, their own learning experiences, as well as developing activities, while the teacher is documenting and facilitating and asking some questions just to guide them in the right direction. But at the same time, we have a curriculum that makes sure that the fundamentals are being achieved, that the children are graduating, like Imogen, with the skills to be able to function and be successful in grade 1.
And I saw this play out myself with the snail farms that happened last year, where there was a bit of an infestation of snails, which became everybody's lives, all the teachers' lives, all the parents' lives. There were a lot of snails in the pre-prep last year.
We have tadpoles at the moment, so the one class is really into watching the tadpole and the life cycle of the tadpole. So we had a little boy bring in the tadpoles, and it got 2 legs on Friday, so it's very exciting. Emma has volunteered to bring a rock in because the tadpole, when it becomes a frog, needs something to go onto. So we are watching this life cycle evolve at the moment, and it really is about the inquiry base of the child. They've come with a question, and the teacher has sort of guided it to make it happen and make it real for the child. It has to be an authentic learning experience. That is something we strongly and firmly believe in. I mean, Emma's a grade 0 teacher. Maybe she can come in how she makes phonics come alive in the grade 0 classroom, which is also so pivotal for the success of grade 1.
Yeah, I think what's really amazing about this approach is not only do the kids grow, but us teachers have to grow all the time and develop and change and just find incredible ways of making the fundamentals kind of come alive. And on that, the phonics, I think it's sometimes challenging to get kids really involved if they're not really ready for it yet. And what we've done is make it very exploratory based. So we introduce our letters every week or over 2 weeks, and we just do so much around that. So we kind of draw from what they're interested at the time. So if they had been interested in frogs and tadpoles, then we would have brought in perhaps tea that week, and kind of created all the lessons around what they're already interested in, and then we can link it to drawing in the sand, drawing outside, building it with gemstones. And it's not just a book and we're writing things, it's exploratory, and they need to go out.
All the songs. I remember Imogen coming home every day singing songs while she wanders around the house.
Yeah.
It's wonderful.
It is, and getting them, we're writing it, we're enjoying it, we're dancing it, we're singing it, we're going outside. There's not just one part that has to be stimulated. I think the holistic, all the different areas of the child has to be engrossed in every activity to really get them kind of stuck in and remember it.
An important part is also that they're collaborators in their own learning. So they're using the environment as a tool to be able to interact with each other, making those relationships, talking about it, getting ideas from each other. And from the teachers, we're always learning. It's really a reflective process as well, and getting the kids to think about things. And it's not just what you see, it could be deeper.
And I think that the learning environment is so beautiful. The classrooms are so engaging, where they are, how their day runs. It's such an engaging environment for them. However, we do also have naughty little boys, or I should say naughty little boys, boys that make bad choices. Thanks to the school, I have learnt new language, and we are also using the sort of discipline method at home. So maybe, I don't know, we don't like to talk about discipline too much, but I know it's a question that gets asked. How do you guys run that in your pre-prep?
So the preschool, we've all been on the onset that it has to be a safe environment for children, and they have to feel that they're allowed to make mistakes. And we don't prescribe to maybe a naughty corner or a time out, but more of, I actually don't like the word naughty at all, and then I feel passionate about that word, but it's more about a reflective process. So in terms of all the edumentors are using the same language of good choices and bad choices and consequences and having a discussion. I play quite a big role, as Emma knows, in the discipline process in preschool. I take a lot of children out for walks, and we're getting down and grappling with what's actually taking place. The behavior and what has happened is just the mountain of it, but we actually have to dig a little bit deeper. What situation? What was the situation? What was discussed? Why did they grab? Why was it something simple as sharing? And then teaching them the tools to be able to deal with that conflict situation. It's about giving the kids the tools and empowering them with the language. So, for example, on Friday, I had a good example. The 000s, 3-year-olds, came to me and they said, "Teacher Kim, they're making such bad choices in class today." And then we unpacked it and we had a discussion, but why and what? And at the end of it, they were like, "Okay, we'll feel better now. We're going to make good choices for the rest of the day." So that's what's beautiful.
Yeah, encouraging the good choices.
Exactly.
And I think because we're such a family in the pre-prep that, wherever a child is when they're playing, any of our edumentors will walk past and facilitate a little disagreement or an argument and help them through it, rather than just pull them, kind of separate, and I don't want to say punish, but that sort of does happen in different schools. And we want to talk it through and just give them time to be themselves. And I think they see us making mistakes, and we're quite open that everyone can make a mistake, but we can have a fresh start afterwards. And I think that language is really filtering through, like you say, even into
absolutely using it at home. Oh, thanks guys for your time. I think if we have any more questions, you can always get hold of the school. And now let's get a little bit more info into the therapy section and faculty in this amazing school.
Wow, what a cool room. Your facilities look absolutely amazing here at Rallim. Joining me on the couch now is Lauren and Manya from West Coast Therapy. So the room looks epic. I want to be in the swing all day long. Tell us a bit more about your facilities here at Rallim.
So we often say the space does quite a lot of work for us because the kids just really want to get in there. Even kids who aren't in our therapy services ask, like, what can I do? Who do I have to talk to get in there?
Sure.
But yes, we really wanted the space to be exciting and to be fun and not look like it kind of I know from when I was at school, therapy was a lot like, oh, you're going to the scary room and you don't know what's happening there and it's a little bit intimidating. So it wants to be a space, and obviously with all the glass, you want it to be inviting and exciting. So we really spent a lot of time when we equipped it, keeping that in mind, and colours and different stations that you could work at.
So now West Coast Therapy is independent, but is also in-house here at Rallim.
Yes.
How does that work sort of in a day-to-day environment?
So independent in the sense, because obviously we're governed by medical body, we have to be completely independent and be governed by those very strict things.
Okay.
But the whole idea behind West Coast Therapy is collaboration and really integrating therapy services. So being at Rallim and being in-house and having access to the teachers and all the staff here really, is such a huge kind of asset to the therapy process.
And what are your offerings here? Like, what therapy offerings do you have for the students?
So we, in terms of what we offer, we do, it all depends on the actual referral. How the child comes through to therapy. Often the parents will contact us. And the nice thing is exactly what we just said. We are independent, but we work so closely with the school where a teacher would raise a concern with the parent. And then we have this open door policy where the parent can come and chat to us. They can email us, do a phone call, and then get the ball rolling. We usually do an assessment. We work so closely with the family, and then after the assessment, the children's usually we would recommend feedback. We would recommend therapy, and work so closely again with the teachers, giving them feedback, check in daily. So it would be, we would offer obviously occupational therapy services, which could be individual. And the lovely thing is also, and then speech therapy sessions. And what makes us quite unique is that we also offer joint sessions of if a child would require both occupational therapy and speech therapy, that we could do a session together, working together to reach the same goals.
I see. Okay. So who would need therapy? How would you spot that in a child as a parent?
So I think often the first step parents look at is kind of developmental milestones. So if there's concerns about not reaching them.
Okay.
I know from a speech therapy point of view, it's often specifically that if they're not speaking properly, the sounds aren't coming out nicely, or from a language point of view, some sentence structure. When it gets into older grades and more specific scholastic skills, that's more where the teacher will come in and identify any concerns. I think from an OT point of view, it's very different from how parents, like what are presented at home and what parents would be concerned about.
And do you find the children enjoy it? Do they feel like it's therapy, or do they feel like it's lots of fun?
I think it's both. We definitely, it has to be fun and it has to be play-based. For kids, if you don't have their buy-in and they dread coming, you've lost them. That isn't the case we have, but it is still hard work. We do push that, we're there to catch up, delays or gaps, and we make them work hard, but they always feel success at the end of the day, and they do have fun. They really do.
I think we often tap into the child's, and this is what we really centered around, is tapping into the child's interests. I think we're moving away from the area of where there's a stigma attached to therapy, especially when it comes to the children. Like we said earlier, they often come say, can I, why has my mom not signed me up for this? I'm going to tell my mom to
I'm going to
tell her, like, it's easier. Yeah, they want to come to therapy. And even our older children, we've got it's quite a different approach when it comes to an older child, but they do. And if they miss therapy or something, or if they'd get discharged, often the kids would still run and still talk about it. Yes,
we would love to have situations where friends have been like, when they come for therapy, can we just come with for that session?
Well, that's great. You're definitely doing something right. And how many children are you working with at the moment, sort of within the school?
So we've got quite a big caseload. It does range. We do start from 000 all the way to grade 3, sometimes grade 4. So we have got quite a big range and quite a big caseload. Manya heads the OT department and I head the speech therapy department. And then we have a couple of therapists working on our team with us. So we are a nice, diverse team.
And it's continuously growing. it is, we need all hands on deck, especially our speech team is also growing rapidly, which is really lovely, but we are managing right now.
It's awesome. It's such an amazing support for parents, I think, and to know that if your kid is struggling, that there's somewhere to turn to.
Absolutely.
So thanks, guys. Awesome. Now, my daughter is very much in the pre-prep. She's just graduated from grade 0 into grade 1. So why don't we take a little bit of a look at where she spends all her days, and you can have a look more at the senior and junior prep. Awesome. Well, that was the really radical prep facility, somewhere my daughter spends most of her time. I'm actually quite fortunate to be joined on the couch today by one of our little besties, Luna. Welcome. And we also have Michelle and Wendy and Jessie, grade 5, who's here to chat to us today. We have Michelle, who's the associate head of the prep, and Wendy, who's the senior associate head of Rallim. So currently there are people touring, and later you can tour Rallim if you book your slot. I think there are still some places. You can have a look in the link below, and you're welcome to come and see the prep facility for yourself. But for those that don't get to come in, and people that are touring, what are they looking for when they're enrolling their children here at Rallim?
Thanks, Kate. It's quite interesting. We have had such an incredible response to Rallim in general since we opened our doors in 2019. And I think the common thread amongst all the parents is they're coming here because they want something different. And they like how we're offering it, what we're offering, and that we are meeting the holistic needs of every child.
And so then why did you join Rallim?
Yeah, thanks for asking, Kate. I think I was the head of a primary school before, and I just saw a lot of very stressed out children, and I realized that we are assessing them very formally at a very young age, and I realized that it's not necessary. We can change education one person at a time, and I think at Rallim we have the opportunity to do that, and we do a lot more informal assessments where the children aren't even aware that they're being assessed. So they're having fun while they learn, and we know where they're at from doing the informal assessment on them.
That's awesome. And then tell me, what curriculum do you follow here then?
So we follow the CAPS curriculum as a base. However, being a private school where we have the latitude to change things up a little, we have added a lot, so like your coding and robotics, your Socratic seminars, and a lot of interesting things that the children just come to school for, and we've called that Ref 21. And our approach is geared at their learning styles, which really helps. So we look at whether the child's a visual, an auditory, or kinesthetic learner, and we teach like that, and we allow them to deliver their content back to us like that.
Okay, so what is the Accelerate, GAT and Reteach programs?
So instead of having extra lessons after school or before school, we acknowledge the fact that children are learning at a different rate, and they need a personalized timetable. So we have reteach sessions, which is for the children that need more consolidation for that particular concept, but we also acknowledge the fact that there are children that need extension, and we call that the GAT program, which is the gifted and talented. So within the school day, we have reteach and GAT lessons for the children. In fact, Jesse on my left here,
I was just checking him fiddling with
Jesse, he loves the Rubik's Cube almost as much as I do. He is involved in our GAT maths program. Jesse, tell us a bit about maths.
One of the main reasons why I have joined Rallim is because I really enjoyed learning at my other school, but I was ahead of everyone, so I came here because of the acceleration program. And in the acceleration program, you don't get taught according to the school's level. You get taught according to your level, and everyone has their separate timetable.
Yes, I'd like to tell you, Kate, that actually Jesse taught me some science a little while ago. He showed me his work, and I think he was on probably a grade 9, 10 level of science. So I can vouch for him.
Sure. So how do you integrate subjects then?
So our integration it's quite an interesting concept, because in the past, in the factory model of years ago when Michelle and I were at school, everything was taught in silos, and that's a problem, because the children then they leave their skills behind in certain subjects. Instead of that, we integrate English, social sciences, history. We even bring the coding and robotics in. And right now, actually, Jesse here, who's a Rubik's Cube fanatic, he's integrating his maths knowledge into what he's doing in the cube. Jesse, tell us about that.
Like I said about the acceleration program, I like to learn ahead, but there isn't a lot of places where you can learn how to increase your learning. So instead of increasing my general knowledge, what I like to do is I try to make my problem solving better. So I like trying to solve Rubik's Cubes.
Cool.
And then I try to get faster, because the faster you can solve a Rubik's Cube, the faster you can solve math problems.
Sure.
And also, like, there are algorithms in a cube, there are algorithms in coding, and there are, and in one block that it's connected to many other subjects.
So cool. How long does it take you to do a Rubik's Cube?
My quickest time is 15 seconds.
What?
And
That's amazing.
My average is around 40.
Wow.
So, Kate, you understand now why I've stopped taking Jesse on, because I don't
beat you
lose
every
well.
time?
Yeah. So Jesse will solve the cube there while we ask the next couple of questions.
Excellent.
Okay.
Well, I think let's give Luna a chance at the end there. Luna, I just want to ask you, what's your favourite part of the day?
Playing with my friends.
Playing with your friends. Where do you play with them?
In class and at break.
That's cool. So you don't just spend all your time in the classroom?
No.
That's cool. So what is your learning approach when it comes to where the children spend their time learning?
So we love to do concrete apparatus. We've got something called Singapore Maths,
which it's a method obviously used for mathematics in Singapore, but it brings in a very concrete, before they do abstract math, and it uses pictorial representation with bars, and the children learn things like regrouping. Instead of carrying and borrowing, we call things regrouping, where they learn when a group of 10 and they can move it into the next group. So it's an amazing method of mathematics for the children, and they love it because they are touching, they're feeling, and we all know that young children need a lot of that. And then of course we have a lot of drama and art. I know that grade ones, they love their art, and they've just built robots.
Yes, I saw those robots coming to school. There's some that were this big.
Correct. And we've even had a drive-in where they've made their own cars. So we do believe in, like,
I saw the Ferraris.
Exactly. And there were some fabulous cars, better than mine. And we believe in that making and doing, you learn more by doing. And so it brings in the opportunity for children who are kinesthetic learners, or who are children who learn differently, to bring skills and not just me standing in front teaching you. And so
that's awesome.
Yeah.
So let's have the final word from Luna. What is your favourite subject? What do you love to do the most? Drama or maths or reading? What is your favourite?
Drama and reading.
Drama and reading. Do you love it? I think you might even be on a special podcast soon as well. Hey? I might know the inside scoop there.
You know, Kate, we were talking about integrating of subjects, and that what Luna said now sparked just an idea where our drama teacher and our English teachers work hand in hand in terms of doing oral presentations as well. We had our grade 5s here. Jesse didn't look like he does now the other day because they were studying Egypt and they came dressed as Egyptians, and then the English teacher, she took that and she got them to write the part of in the newspaper where the eulogy for the poor Egyptian that has passed away. So it was a very interesting exercise indeed.
Yeah, I saw that the other day, and they were even doing, I think they were learning about China this week, and I know that I taught my daughter how to use chopsticks this week.
There we go.
So there we go.
Yes, we like parents to learn along as well. We believe in lifelong learning, and that's what we want to instill in the children, is that learning is not just about right now, it's about learning for life. And I think that's really important. I mean, even in history, geography, those kind of things, we start with something called a big question, and that in itself sparks creative thought. Things like questioning, is this the truth? Those are really important skills that children need to learn. So the research skills, finding evidence for what you're basing something on, that's what we want. And that's something you're going to use throughout life, not just in grade 5 history or grade 1 maths. So we really believe in that.
Yeah, in this crazy world we live in, there's nothing better than to question it all.
Exactly.
Absolutely. Awesome. Well, that's a bit about the prep. If you have any more questions, as you know, you can contact the school. And now let's get a little bit more of a look-see at the secondary facilities.
Now we've learned a little bit more about the prep and how the children are prepared for all that critical thinking. It's now time to move on to the secondary faculty, and we are sitting in the faculty right now in the beautiful, gorgeous space. We welcome Colleen back, which is awesome, and some secondary edumentors, and it's honestly, guys, I don't know how you did it. I watched the video and I watched the children walk into this space. It was truly, truly amazing. We have two people here. We have Paul and Vari for the specialist hubs, and I think we're literally sitting amongst those amazing classrooms right now. Maybe you want to tell me a little bit more about the hubs.
Sure thing. We offer 5 specialist hubs. First off being the design hub, as well as the ideation hub. Another hub that is often used by students as well as the engineering hub, and the social hub during break times and in sort of free time as well. And then quite excitingly, is that a word? I hope it is. The Pixel Studio. So yeah, those hubs are the specialist hubs that we offer at the moment, but we do hope, I suppose, in the future to expand upon them and really make them a real feature of certainly the secondary school.
Yeah, I mean they're super dynamic spaces, which is fantastic. The Pixel Studio, if I can speak to that, it's a studio that comprises of 3 parts really. So we've got our green room, absolutely fantastic for the kids to go into and kind of create an environment where they can create fantasy and they can go into another world, which is just incredible. The podcasting studio, it's been used in terms of integrated learning. You know, the teachers that can go into the podcast, they can actually record a lesson and then they play that back. So it's actually utilizing those tools in terms of evolving the way in which they learn and how the kids learn back as well. And the vlogging studio, everyone wants to become a YouTuber, it's crazy. So, you know, apart from having great equipment, we also want to educate the kids on how best to use these tools. You know, it can be quite a scary space in terms of the World Wide Web, and I think it's really important that we safeguard them against that and we educate them correctly.
Yeah.
And in terms of the setup that we have here today, we've got some fantastic equipment, and we are incorporating learning in terms of the kids, how they can actually use this equipment, you know, which is fantastic. So they're learning great skills in the classroom.
But how are they integrating that then, Charlene, into some of the skills that they're using in class?
Yes, absolutely. We continuously integrating all these hubs, and the Pixel Studio, for instance, our Afrikaans teacher, she's using it, and some of our other language teachers are using the blogging and the vlogging studio so that they can practice their language skills on a different skill sets, and how to speak and how to present themselves and how to pose questions, because we are very passionate about compelling questions as well. It's very important to us to ask those compelling questions, and that's why we also think of the global perspective that we offer here, enhancing our CAPS curriculum with the UN skills that we want to offer these kids, that they understand what is going out in the world, making them future ready, future design education for them, and future design their living style. And that includes our ideation hub, where they are allowed to build with their hands and not only have the skill sets in a textbook, but actually use it hands-on in our studios, and in the same with our design studio, where they can practice their art skills, practice their emotions, and coming out in a beautiful art piece.
Yes. So how do they then, if you need to reach further with these hubs, what experts do you use within these?
I suppose the experts at the moment are really the edumentors themselves, who've been specifically, I suppose, put into those spaces to enhance the offerings for the kids and students. But importantly, we have an individual, his name is Mornay van der Merwe, and he works alongside myself in the ideation hub. He comes from an environment, also a heavy design and brand environment, as well as installation, brand and installation environment, whereby he, along with myself, as already mentioned, starts to integrate various projects with the students, and we actually create physical objects that they can use, take home, show off, which is really exciting. We've just concluded a project where each student in grade 7 and 8 created their own toolbox, which was really, really exciting. And at the moment, we're currently working on a planter box project where students are creating planters for Rallim's own urban farming community. So yeah, a lot of hard work, but really, really rewarding at the end of the day.
So we've got a lot of integration here and a lot of amazing hubs. What is the core curriculum that you're working with here?
Before I come to that, Kate, if I can just add on to what Vari is saying, is we're making the education relevant, basically, and we can only do that by utilising people at the forefront of their fields. So whilst
edumentors or educators train up, you're not going to have somebody that's at the forefront of programming, for example, in the classroom. So you have to tap into those skills. And I know that in the tech section they're going to talk about that. And that's what Vari's talking about. So, for example, if we want to do animation, Vari's got a base knowledge of animation, but then we would get in an animation expert that would do a workshop. So it's all about being relevant and contemporary in terms of what we're doing. And then obviously that feeds into our approach, our curriculum. So we do follow the national curriculum, but it's an enhanced national curriculum. And we've referenced the Finnish approach, the phenomenon-based teaching and learning approach. And they instituted it, I think, in 2016. And it's very interdisciplinary in composition. So you can see the relevancy of the subject integration. So you're not learning in silos. There will be times when you will just go to the science laboratory, of course, and all of that. But it's taking a topic like Charlene was saying, like, say, the UN goal of sustainability and integrating it into science, into maths, into coding and robotics, and into English, for example. So that's very much what we do. We also tap into international associations and people. So we're working with Kevin Bartlett in terms of curriculum development. We've got a learning design team, and he was one of the founders of the International Baccalaureate, and he's established the Common Grounds Collaborative. So that's one association that we have. We also have linked up and had preliminary discussions with the Copenhagen Institute for Future Studies, and they're working with UNESCO in terms of creating a future-focused curriculum. So we're not a part of that yet, but we've had a discussion, and so that excites us in terms of remaining abreast of international trends.
Amazing. So we've learned a lot about sort of what you're doing in the school. How does that then prepare them for the future and for jobs that don't really exist yet?
So I think, as Vari was saying earlier, it's very much focusing on those 21st century skills that everybody talks about, but consciously trying to foster them. So your critical thinking, your problem solving, collaboration, etc. And you do it through the approach and through the integration of subjects, etc. So it's not just teaching content. It's obviously posing those compelling questions that Charlene was talking about to get them to think, because we know that the current system doesn't produce students when they exit in grade 12 ready for the world of work or for tertiary institutions. And so it's actually consciously embedding it in your approach and your curriculum.
Yeah, and if I can add to that, what we call now is a passion projects that they work on. So they have a personal passion project as well as a more skill-based passion project. So the skill-based passion project they work on is independent learning work that they have to do besides the curriculum that they're building. Is I need to challenge myself and have a skill. So whether that be I want to play guitar, or I want to learn a new language, or I just want to be better at chess skills. So they have their time, and they have to do research on how am I going to, they have SMART goals that they have to achieve. I set my goals, this is the time limit I'm going to achieve these passion projects, and they have to reflect then, what have I done with in a month's time? So it's learning that's the 21st century skills here, the research skills, the reflecting, of becoming confident and courageous in who I am and believing in myself. And that's why we also believe in the soft skills so much. Yes.
Amazing. So we look forward to actually getting a little bit more knowledge about some of these skills that the students are learning. I think I'm going to have a sneak peek now, and we're going to have some of your grade 8 students on the couch with me. As promised, we've managed to steal away some students, and we've got some grade 8s here who we're going to get the inside scoop with. And Charlene's back. Thanks for joining us. Who have we got here today?
So today we have Romano and Rebecca and Natora. Some of them have joined schools with the founding members, and some have only joined this year. So we're very excited to hear about that.
So how does it differ from other schools?
I feel like as soon as you walk through the door, you're very welcomed, because it is a very new school, and they understand that settling into a new place is quite difficult. So from the beginning, they're very welcoming to you.
Yeah, that's awesome. Even as a parent, I think it's lots of smiles, lots of greeting. Every staff member greets you, don't they? Okay, speaking of staff members, who's your favourite teacher?
Personally, mine is Miss Charlene.
Oh,
yeah.
No, Tara. I think everyone pointed at you then. I don't know if that's because they,
That's all right. I think everyone's favorite is probably Miss V because she's very understanding to the students and she wants to help us a lot and she cares about us a lot.
That's awesome.
It means a lot to us.
And what are your favourite sort of hubs here, or subjects, or things that you do in your day?
I would say mine is definitely mindfulness and yoga with Miss V.
Oh, that's cool.
It really helps us concentrate and think about ourselves and just take a moment during the day to calm, relax, and be peaceful.
Sure, that's amazing. I wish I had that at school. That's awesome. What else do you guys enjoy?
I like the design hub, personally.
What have you done recently there?
I like the pottery and making little jars and stuff, I think.
That's awesome. That's a cool life skill. Excellent. And what is your favourite subject here?
Personally, my favourite subject would be the English and business.
Oh, cool.
Firstly, I enjoy English a lot because my favourite teacher teaches it.
I feel there's a theme here.
Secondly, I really enjoy business because I get into a very good concentrating zone, and I think it's very good for me to be in that phase.
I think that's also the focus of bringing the 21st century skills into our learning, is building these courageous and confident students that can be entrepreneurs, and this is our aim.
Definitely.
And
I'm
they can
hearing
reflect.
so many cool things here, mindfulness and business and like so many different things. Are you guys doing any drama or any other sort of...
Yes, we have a subject which is musical theatre. This term we have started with Shakespeare, which is very interesting, and the teachers are amazing and they are creative and they help us.
Yeah, and we're currently doing a project in expression session where I think we're in 4 groups and then we get a shorter version of one of the Shakespeare plays, and at the end of the term we're going to be performing it. Which is very exciting.
That's exciting. Oh, we look forward to seeing that.
Absolutely.
Do you guys do any sports? Is there any technology, coding? things like that?
Extra math and extra coding.
Oh, wow. Okay, so you've got some aspirations for the future then.
Yeah.
That's where the market is.
Yeah, I want to also just elaborate more on the school using technology. I think our school has taken a really big leap in using the use of technology. And I think it's very important and it's a good skill because in the future I believe technology will play a very big role.
Absolutely.
And I always think as coding is going to be the new reading and writing. Coding is going to be very important in the future. And I think it's very important that the school is teaching us these skills early on so that we don't struggle on ourselves in the future.
Yeah, I mean, so early on, grade 0, my daughter in grade 0 last year was learning coding, which is pretty amazing.
Yeah, so as you can see, we're having a balance here between technology and the softer skills, and as well as sport. And I think all of you are part of a sports team, correct?
Yes.
Oh, what do you guys play?
I play softball. Yes, so in the summer I play softball, and in the winter I do netball with Miss V actually.
Same. Summer softball and winter netball.
For the boys, we usually do cricket in the summer, and in the winter we do rugby.
And which are you best at?
It's both here. It's pretty easy. I have a little bit of a soft spot for rugby. I look forward to it since last year.
Yeah, that's awesome.
And they had their new jerseys, which is fantastic.
I saw very, very trendy new jerseys. I saw the launch. It was amazing. Well, while we're speaking about sports, I think let's maybe ask the sports department a little bit more about what they're up to.
So awesome. Now we get to sit down with the very overachieving sports department as well. So welcome Coach K, Coach D and Coach C. I'm actually quite fortunate that I know these guys a little bit better because recently Coach K decided to do the 13 peaks, shadowed by my husband and some of the sports coaches here, and it was kind of crazy and wild, and I don't think I've ever seen anybody panting so much as my husband when I fetched him that night. It was very extreme, but apparently that wasn't enough for Coach K. No. He then went only a month later and he did it at night again, and that wasn't enough for you either. I hear there was a 200k run after that as well.
Yeah, so I think from about 120 Ks became survival. It was 51 hours out there, pretty insane. A couple of stories.
And you even got a sponsorship out of it?
Yes. That's it, yeah. So currently got a sponsor at the moment, which is pretty cool, just to keep me going with these endurance.
That's amazing. And I see your daughter,
Kenzie,
Mackenzie. She's also she's done the 13 peaks or something. You're inspiring her. Tell us a bit more about that.
Yeah, so she's done it over 6 days. It's a multi-day badge. I didn't think she would get as far as she did. We chanced it. We went up Lion's Head. I thought we'd have some tears. Came down and she was keen to go for more. So.
And she's only 8, you said?
Only 8, yeah.
That's
so
incredible.
The youngest, I think, to achieve that, which has been awesome. And she's calling out for another attempt next year. So.
Wow, that's amazing. So inspiring the young
Yeah.
and students as well, I'm sure. Tell us a bit more then about your Rallim Sports Evolution program.
Okay, great. Yeah, so obviously our main aim here is to keep kids active for life, and obviously promote a culture for sports where the kids enjoy what they're doing. It's all about fun for us. So yeah, that's the ultimate goal, is to keep them active for life. I like to lead by example, as I'm doing. Ken's is now obviously following in my footsteps, which is great. And we're hoping that we get the same response from our kiddies here at Rallim. So just a little bit about our program. What we do is we've got a 4-stage link, really. So it's good to have a plan. It's a long-term athlete development strategy. We start right from the bottom, grade 000, with our gross motor program, which then links us into stage 2, which is grade 1s and 2s, where they go more sports specific. They get to choose their codes. And then, that kind of links us into competition from grade 3 to grade 6, which is stage 3, which is healthy competition. And then high school, which is more specializing in sports.
I do love it. I ask Archie regularly, did you do sport today? And he says no. And then I ask him if he played today, and he said, yeah, the whole day. So I think that also leads into the question about the gross motor. I think he doesn't even know it's sport.
But that's the beauty about it as well.
Yeah.
It's the way our program is set out is so we start with the triple noughts, then we have the double noughts, then we have the noughts, and they each have 5 modules during the week that they need to not complete, but experience through the week. And the aim behind the 5 modules is to encourage the kids to participate in sports without that great pressure or expectation in getting a result out of them. And for your boy, it's purely about the experience and discovery without any questions, but without any expectations, so that he can find his way and what he enjoys. And then that's where it brings us to the modules, which we have magic feet, was it? Fast feet, which we focus on your eye-feet coordination. Then it's team magic on a Friday type of thing, where we have team games, where it's relays, sportsmanship games, where they got to work together to achieve a goal. Then we have flex fun, which we work on their strength, their stability, their yoga, their stretching, all of that, so that we can make them nice and supple, so that they can pretty much become a good athlete. Then we have as well muscle vision, which is your hand-eye coordination, which is quite a big one, because that's what we need as sportsmen. And the thing is, we discover it again through their way, and there's no expectation. And then I think I'm missing one. Strength and fitness. So that is one that is also very important, is ensuring that our boys and girls have a strong body, and it's important that they do strength training within their own body weight, and never more than that, because the thing is, we want them to get fit on their abilities and no one else's. And it's always on their time. And the beautiful thing about the 5 modules is that it's all linked to their expectations and their interest within the sport, but making sure that it's fun. making sure that they discover which sport they
such
love.
a jaw at the same time.
And it's like you said, did we do sports today? No, because
No.
you had fun.
Yeah,
Because
he has
that's
no
what the point
idea
of it.
that it's-
Once he gets older and we go into Coach D's side of things, then things start getting a little bit more, I quite like that.
Yeah, so I've noticed that obviously my daughter's grade 1. Besides saying she runs around the field a lot, maybe you want to tell us the transition then from pre-prep into prep.
So basically with Corbin's gross motor program, they're more learning the fundamental skills. As soon as they come into the junior prep, grade 1 and 2, they start going into more sport-specific codes, where they start experimenting with a little bit more advanced skills, so that they can start picking up what sports they like. And then, the main thing that we try and focus on is building confidence in the kids, because confidence breeds the excitement and enjoyment of the sport.
Yeah.
So that's what we really like to focus on. Again, like Corbin said, building the kids' bodies up to try and enjoy their sport, building them to become athletes. That's a big thing for us. So using body weight is a big thing. We try and have them enjoy it as much as possible in the time.
And we always try and avoid that pressure of having to feel like, I need to do well, No, enjoy yourself. Let's have fun. We work together as a team. Because that's one thing we want to drive hard is...
But you do introduce competition at some point, right?
Yeah. And I'm going to talk about that now. So if I can just add to what the guys are saying as well is, it's all free of charge. There's absolutely no additional cost here. So it's getting every single one of our kids through the system from grade 000. And what's so great is a lot of the time you see kids go to grade 1, grade 2, and they pick up a tennis racket for the first time. And because it feels foreign to them, they actually then shy away. And you never know the potential that they could have actually shown if they stuck with the code. Where with us, it's a case of like they've introduced the soccer ball, the cricket bat, boy, girl. And so, that kind of fosters the love maybe for that specific activity, and then great, they jump into grade 1 and they've got that confidence, which is really important for the kids to actually have.
We've seen that already. The buy-in has been beautiful from the kids. They're enjoying this.
What are the sports then that they're doing? What are the kind of sports that you're offering them?
All right, so in the summer we've got cricket, softball, athletics, tennis. We will add swimming and water polo eventually once the aquatic centre is up and running.
Yes.
In the winter we've got soccer, rugby, hockey, netball, cross country.
And a new very cool rugby jersey.
Yes, it's been a hit. It's been a hit, Rallim Thunder. Yeah.
That's awesome.
We can't forget the hockey Astro either.
We'll talk about that. Also, not to forget that we've also got extramurals like golf, Krav Maga. So
we do the fast speed module with the kids as well, the older kids. They kind of get that program running through up until grade 3, I think.
So grade 1 and grade 2, and the reasons for that as well is you find a lot of preschool kids come up to grade 1 and maybe they're just slightly behind in that confidence that we talk about. And so there's 2 familiar modules that they can jump into if they're not quite ready to go to soccer or tennis or whatever the case is. Those 2 modules are still there as backups for those kids to continue as they develop at their own rate.
And just to speak to that as well, we also have different programs for the kids in the pre-prep that they can do. We've got Teddy Sport that's just joined us now.
That's right.
We have a few others that will be coming soon as well.
Lots of other offerings on the side as well.
We can't keep up at the moment.
So I mean, it's all about experience for them and just being free and enjoying their sport.
That's amazing.
I think to come back to the question about competition, because that would be then the next stage.
And is that competing with other schools?
Yes.
Okay.
So from grade 3, we introduce healthy competition. And it's important that we understand that it's healthy competition. So we join the leagues, and we don't focus very much on winning. It's not about that, especially at this level. It's more a case of looking at little moments in the games to kind of bring to their attention so they can see that they're kind of putting together good moves that they've obviously brought from the training field into those games. And we kind of move then from under 9, which is grade 3, to grade 4, where the duration of those games start to extend. And like for example, there's transition from cricket, softball into hardball. So you can see how we progressively start to move with the competition side of things.
That's awesome. Well, all this talk of exciting sports makes me just want to dance, I can tell you. So why don't we take a look at the culture department? Now I'm sitting here with the very talented Mac-Julie combo, Michelangelo and Anjali, the heads of culture for prep and secondary. Very excited. They are extremely talented individuals. So much talent, more talent in their little finger than in my entire body, I do think. But I think we've got some really good stories here. Michelangelo, vocally trained, an Idols winner. We've got Anjali, who has songs on Spotify. I think even one of their faculty members is one of the Jack Parrow, is he drummer? Yeah, drummer for Jack Parrow. So why don't you tell me a little bit more about your team? They sound very talented.
We have an amazing team consisting of internationally acclaimed performers and also nationally. If I can mention, for example, Nina Peters, who is our piano teacher. She is an accompanist also for World Choir Games, and yes, World Choir Games is a thing. And then Rob Hack, who is a guitarist, ukulele, bass guitar, what else? All of the guitars, all things with strings, performs everywhere. Then we have Mark Clutie, who is a violinist, pianist, photographer, senior marimba specialist, and also specialist at the Conservatorium in Stellenbosch for the rock concerts.
And Roscoe, we mentioned Roscoe already, he's the drummer for Jack Parrow.
And then we have Marlene, acrobatic dancer, dance teacher contemporary. She is also internationally known.
And the team of Dwayne and Corinne on hip hop, they've been choreographing for TV shows like Idols and international competitions. It's incredible.
And performed in a movie called Honey 3, 1, 2, 3.
And Carly Stadler, a fabulous ballet.
Yes, our ballet teacher, RAD specialist. Did we forget anybody?
No, we've got a fabulous arts department.
Yes, our 3 arts teachers, Marsha, Vari, and Simone, who are from pottery to 3D printing and 4D drawings and pencil on paper and paint and everything everywhere. And Cass, our fabulous Cass, who is our drama specialist, a drama teacher, trained at Waterfront Theatre School. She's also internationally known, so yeah, our team is, we're amazing.
And they're
My
very
daughter loves
active.
her drama, I must say. She speaks very highly of drama.
And they're all, I must say, they're all very active in the performing world and art world as it stands today.
And you even had Arno Carstens do your school song.
This is correct. That was fun working with him. Yeah.
What else sets you apart as an amazing culture department?
I think it's about also like what we offer, because we offer a lot. For a school who's in their 3rd year, we literally try and cater for everything. Our ensembles, which is junior, senior choir, vocal ensemble, which is more physically challenging and also vocally challenging group. Then we have your normal instruments: piano, violin, cello, recorder, flute, clarinet. What else?
Yes, I must say we offer all your conventional instruments, all your conventional ensembles, but we always want to take it one step further. We try to cater for everyone's needs. So therefore there's the vocal ensemble, which is that step further from having a senior choir. And there is the senior band, that's that one step further from a junior orchestra. Also focusing on various styles of music and genres, just to make sure that there's something of everything for everyone.
And what makes you different to other schools and other things that are happening in culture departments? How do you support the children in this time?
And I'm going to say this, in some cultural departments, kids are pushed too far too quickly. And that's how you lose the child. You lose the child's interest in the performing arts, and you will never get that back again. We don't believe that, we don't believe in that, and we don't do that here. We believe that the inner performer will perform when they are ready. And that is when the child has, or the student has, the right and the bravery to take that step forward onto the stage under this huge, beautiful spotlight and say, like, you know what, I'm ready to perform. I think that is what sets us apart, is because we continue the training, we continue the nurturing, we continue the loving and the encouraging of performing arts. And when they are ready, they will perform. And we will still be there, we will be standing in the wings, we will be supporting and cheering them on. But I think that's what sets us apart, is because we believe that the child will perform when they are ready and not when we say they are.
That's amazing.
And as performing musicians, Michelangelo, yourself and myself, we know what skills you learn through practicing the arts. It's discipline, it's teamwork, it's self-confidence. And those are all skills that children need in life, whether they study music or art or drama or not, Those are skills that they need for life. And we focus on that.
So what would you say is your vision then here at Rallim for the future of the culture department?
That ultimately art school. But that every single child here is involved with some sort of creative art faculty or little group, that the integration of our subjects and art forms flow into math or science or geography, because ultimately it does. But it's to just broaden the horizon, or just broaden the thought processes, and definitely about colouring outside of the lines and thinking outside of a triangle, not even a box. As many shapes as possible. I think our vision is that we encourage everyone to participate, whether you are an edumentor or a student. Everybody is involved whenever they want to.
And we all know that the world is changing very fast. I mean, the music world that we grew up in, it's changing, and it's very important to keep the students updated on what's going on in the real world. And I think it's very important that we stay on top of what's happening in the arts world, so that we can prepare our students for when they leave school, that they can go into the world and know what they have to do.
Oh, it's phenomenal. Well, speaking of students, Leah Benny is going to play us out now with a beautiful vocal performance.
Once more.
And now we're joined by the incredible Technology Hub. This is a very exciting and very cool thing to chat about. We actually have a very special panelist that's joining us here as well, and we'll get into that a little bit later. We're actually chatting to the kids. They are very, very into their coding and robotics. I think they spoke into a lot of those areas and how integrated it is into the subjects that they're doing at the moment. And even Jesse earlier was also talking and fiddling and saying how the algorithms were into his maths. So maybe you want to just give us a bit of an intro, Steve, into why coding and robotics is important to teach to the children.
Okay, basically what we do with coding and robotics is we don't necessarily just look at one platform or, what is the best app. We look at computational thinking, which is basically, teaching children to tackle a problem in a certain way, break it down into its certain elements, and then look for pattern recognition and then put together some kind of algorithm to solve the problem. So that is something which is relevant in coding and robotics, but it is also relevant for their futures. Every single job or career has the same kind of issues to deal with. And if you can develop a certain way of thinking about problems and solving problems, then it's just going to stand you in good stead. It's all about skills in the future,
Yeah, problem solving.
Yeah,
for sure.
correct.
Now, I'm a massive creative myself, and sometimes I think coding is so far away from that, but actually it's not, right? Apparently someone told me that apparently it's creative.
It's very creative. Coding, it seems very linear, and it seems like you're stuck into just writing down bits of text. But when you really understand what's going on and you're looking at the problem and you're implementing your solution, you'll find that there are many ways of doing things, and sometimes you'll be going down one track and you'll see someone else going down a different track, and there's a truly creative solution to that problem.
That's awesome. And then I know that some of the departments have spoken about how are you really integrating that into other subjects as well?
Well, with the integration, basically, we use different kinds of robots. So over here we've got the Sphero robots, and these are quite handy to integrate into your normal subjects like IE, history, geography, those kinds of things. We did a thing with the grade 4s where they basically coded the Sphero. Well, they had to research the life of Nelson Mandela and then get the Sphero to move from one date to the next and speak what actually happened on that particular date.
Okay.
So we do that, but then also, the Lego robotics examines, real world issues, and they use the technology to tackle these issues and solve problems. I know Paul's a bit more of an expert at that one.
So with the Lego robotics, you're designing and building your own robot from scratch to solve a problem. It's very cool. And Lego themselves, they've built a large platform of competitions like the World Robotics Olympiad and the first Lego League. And that goes far beyond just the robots and the coding. There's always a project that's related to that around sustainable development or objects in space, looking at the future, looking at things like going to Mars, cleaning up space debris, building sustainable villages, houses, water sources. So there's always a lot for the children to learn about how what they're doing can impact their future.
Yeah.
Sorry, Katie, if I can come in there. We're very privileged to have Paul joining our team next year, and what he hasn't actually alluded to is that he's actually one of the WRO judges, which is the World Robotics Olympiad. We're very excited about that.
Okay.
And Steve, talking about integration of technology, one of the things that we pride ourselves at Rallim is hiring teachers with a growth mindset. So part of the orientation, and which Paul and Steve are integrally involved in, is actually to get the teachers to integrate and to come in to have staff training. And we do the water cycle with a Sphero ball, etc. We test gravity with it. So very exciting,
So it sounds like there's a lot of real life, real world sort of future vision here. So what does that look like for these coders?
Well, interestingly enough that you say that, Jessie on the couch earlier is just one example of one of the children that we're fast tracking, because we realized as it happens in maths, the coding, there's different levels. So we teach to that. And as Jessie said quite correctly earlier, we don't teach to the whole class, we teach to the individual's capacity. And he's actually on an interesting road with Rallim next year, where he's joining those grade 8s that are starting with Xcode. And Xcode is very exciting, it allows them to actually develop their own app. So by the end of grade 12, they possibly have their own app, generating an income, and it's limitless.
Wow, that's phenomenal. So give us another real life scenario then, Steve. Grade 8s and Accelerate?
Yeah, so we've got an Accelerate program that goes through from grade 6, 7 and then ends off in 8. Obviously next year will be 9 as well. But basically what we've done with the grade 8s this year is we've tried to make coding and programming more and more relevant to what is actually happening out there in the world. So, we follow the Apple Everyone Can Code curriculum.
Okay.
And, that's where they learn the foundations, all the children learn the foundations of what the various coding concepts are. But what we're doing with the grade 8s now is we're saying, okay, how can we link what you're learning in class to what's actually happening out there in the marketplace? So we've been very fortunate to link with Syspro, which is a company which designs software which makes businesses more efficient, essentially. And what they've offered to do, or two of their programmers have offered to do, is come in and do some training on how our grade 8s could possibly set up some kind of e-commerce platform where they can actually link it to business studies and the curriculum, maybe design and build their own products, and then sell their products through the platform that they've created with the code.
Sure.
So it's a challenge, but this is such a fluid environment that we work in, and we have to be flexible and try new things. And I think this is what we're trying to do now.
And such future thinking, like it's brilliant to just see that forethought and sort of real planning for the future. What kind of tools do you give them then to succeed in that area?
A child at Rallim will have every tool that they will need to succeed, from the basics that they learn in the Everyone Can Code program to working with robotics, implementing things from scratch with Lego robots. It's easy to build because Lego is a very modular system that is put together easily. Then you can move on to doing things in the makerspace where you can combine recycled and average materials with things like Arduinos and code them to do certain things based on the solution that you're trying to create. So I think that a child that's here will have every opportunity that they need to explore the limits of their imagination and ability and come up with unique and exciting things.
This is all super exciting. So what's next? Where to from here?
Well, the trick in this whole thing is to try and stay abreast of what's coming next. You have to continually see what's out there. You have to think of different ways in which you can introduce children to the new technologies, to the new platforms. So that's part of it. We're looking at introducing a drone program at the end of this year, possibly next year, where coding becomes very, very real. Like people are using drones to take medical equipment to stranded hikers on mountains. That's part of the curriculum. For instance, that the children will have a problem. Okay, now how would you solve this problem using the drone? So these are the kinds of things that we have to stay abreast of and continually research and try and bring into what we do.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah.
Thank you, guys. So interesting and so exciting. The future really is very bright. What an amazing morning we've had, and we have learned so much from our incredible edumentors, some of the faculty, and even the students themselves. We hope that you've booked your slot to come and look at this incredible modern learning environment, and we hope you have a wonderful rest of the day. We look forward to seeing you soon.